Consciousness bloomed like a flower struggling through cracks in sun-baked stone. A searing ache throbbed behind my eyes, pulsing with the rhythm of a foreign heartbeat. My limbs felt alien, tangled in rough-spun fabric that scratched against my skin. Memories, fragmented and indistinct, flickered on the periphery of my mind, snatches of laughter, the comforting aroma of baking bread, the warmth of a hand in mine. But then, a chasm of oblivion, swallowing everything familiar, leaving me adrift in a sea of confusion. I opened my eyes, blinking against the sudden assault of light. Above me, a canvas of bruised purple bled into streaks of fiery orange, the final embers of a fading sunset painting the unfamiliar sky. The air was thick with the earthy scent of damp grass and the acrid tang of wood smoke. I lay sprawled on a bed of coarse straw, the ground beneath me cold and unyielding. Panic, sharp and insistent, clawed at my throat. Where was I? Who was I? A guttural croak escaped my lips, a strangled cry lost in the vastness of the twilight landscape. I pushed myself up, muscles protesting the unfamiliar movement. My hands, calloused and rough, gripped the straw, sending a jolt of pain shooting up my arm. Looking down, I was met with the sight of unfamiliar clothes, coarse tunic and worn trousers stained with grime. My gaze traveled upwards, taking in the ragged beard that tickled my chin and the tangled mess of dark hair that framed my face. This was not my body, not my face. This was the shell of a stranger, thrust into a world I didn't understand. Fear threatened to paralyze me, but a primal instinct for survival urged me to move. I stumbled to my feet, legs shaky and unsure. The world tilted around me, a dizzying carousel of swaying trees and distant silhouettes of mountains against the darkening sky. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my eye. In the distance, a faint glow pulsed from within the dense undergrowth. Hope, fragile and tentative, sparked in my chest. Perhaps there, amidst the shadows, lay an answer, a thread to grasp onto in this labyrinthine world. With a deep breath, I took a hesitant step towards the light, each step a tentative exploration into the unknown. The forest floor rustled beneath my feet, the symphony of the night awakening around me, the chirping of crickets, the hooting of owls, the rustle of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. Each sound a brushstroke on the canvas of my fear, painting a vivid picture of vulnerability. But the flicker of the distant light, now a steady beacon in the encroaching darkness, fueled my resolve. I pushed on, the forest closing in around me, its gnarled branches clawing at my clothes, the damp earth sucking at my boots. The air grew heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth, the darkness pressing in from all sides. But then, the trees parted, revealing a clearing bathed in the gentle glow of a campfire. Beside it, hunched over a bubbling cauldron, sat a figure shrouded in the flickering shadows. Fear warred with curiosity as I approached. Who was this solitary figure, alone in the heart of the night? A friend, a foe, or simply another lost soul seeking solace in the flames? The figure stirred, lifting its head to reveal a weathered face etched with the wisdom of countless moons. Two kind eyes, the color of mossy ponds, met mine, crinkling at the corners with a gentle smile. In a voice warm as the firelight, they spoke, their words washing over me like a soothing balm. "Welcome, traveler," they said, their voice low and musical. "It seems you found your way to a haven in the night." And in that moment, as the fire crackled and the stars winked down from the velvety sky, I knew my journey had only just begun. In the company of this stranger, amidst the whispers of the ancient forest, perhaps I would find not only answers, but also a path towards remembering who I truly was. For I was no longer simply a lost soul adrift in the darkness. I was Jin, the traveler, the seeker, and within the embers of my forgotten memories, a spark of hope flickered, promising a story yet to be written. To be continued. The heat from the campfire washed over me, a welcome counterpoint to the lingering chill of the twilight forest. My muscles, still protesting their unfamiliar movements, relaxed a fraction under the warmth. The stranger's words, spoken in a tongue that felt strangely familiar and yet utterly alien, lingered in the air, their meaning slowly coalescing in the murky well of my mind. I blinked, focusing on the figure before me. Their face, etched with wrinkles that spoke of countless moons and weathered by the elements, was framed by a mane of silver hair that cascaded down their back. Their eyes, like pools of moss beneath the starlit sky, held a depth that seemed to pierce through my confusion, offering a silent understanding of my plight. They gestured towards the fire, inviting me closer. Hesitantly, I approached, the rough wooden logs crunching under my feet. Each step felt deliberate, as if I were navigating a landscape sculpted from the fog of my lost memories. My gaze fell upon the bubbling cauldron, its contents shimmering in the firelight like an enchanted kaleidoscope. A pungent aroma, infused with a hint of wood smoke and something faintly metallic, tickled my nose. Curiosity, battling with the remnants of fear, tugged at the corners of my lips. What is that? My voice, unused and rusty, emerged as a hoarse croak. The stranger chuckled, a sound like wind chimes dancing in the breeze. A concoction, my friend, they replied, their voice like the rustling of leaves. A potion brewed for weary travelers, a balm for lost souls. Their words resonated within me, striking a chord of deep longing. Was I, indeed, a lost soul? My mind, still shrouded in the fog of amnesia, offered no answers. Yet, an instinctive trust bloomed within me, drawn to the warmth in their eyes and the gentle cadence of their voice. I lowered myself onto the rough-hewn log beside the fire, the welcome heat seeping into my aching bones. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows on their face, making their features blur and shift, lending them an air of otherworldly mystique. Where? I began, the question forming on my lips like a fragile butterfly struggling to take flight. Where am I? The stranger smiled, a knowing glint in their eyes. You are in the heart of the Whisperwood, they replied, their voice like a low chant. An ancient realm where memories linger like fireflies and secrets dance in the moonlight. My brow furrowed. The Whisperwood. The name resonated within me, stirring echoes of forgotten tales and whispered legends. Yet, it remained just out of reach, a wisp of smoke teasing my grasp. Silence settled between us, punctuated only by the crackling fire and the chirping of crickets in the darkness. The weight of my amnesia pressed down on me, a suffocating burden threatening to steal my breath. But then, the stranger reached out, placing a calloused hand on mine. Their touch, surprisingly warm and gentle, sent a jolt of something akin to recognition through me. It was a whisper, faint and fleeting, like a forgotten melody on the wind. Don't fret, traveler, they said, their voice a soothing balm. The answers you seek will come in time. The Whisperwood has a way of revealing its secrets to those who listen. And as I sat there, bathed in the firelight and enveloped by the comforting presence of the stranger, a glimmer of hope flickered within me. In the heart of the Whisperwood, amidst the whispers of the trees and the secrets held within the flickering flames, perhaps I wouldn't just find answers. Perhaps I would find myself. For in the slow unfolding of moments, in the quiet symphony of nature and the gentle guidance of a stranger, the first chapter of Jin, the traveler, the seeker, had begun. And the pages ahead, though shrouded in the mist of the unknown, promised a journey of rediscovery, where every rustle of leaves and every flicker of firelight held the potential to illuminate the path towards who I truly was. To be continued. My throat felt parched, a sandpaper sensation against the back of my tongue. The heat of the fire, comforting moments ago, now seemed to prickle my skin, turning the air around me into a dry furnace. I blinked, the flickering flames blurring momentarily before resolving into dancing shapes against the darkness. The stranger, sensing my discomfort, extended a weathered hand towards the cauldron. With a practiced flick of their wrist, they dipped a wooden ladle into the bubbling concoction, the liquid catching the firelight in fleeting bursts of emerald and amethyst. My gaze followed the ladle, a primal thirst pulling me closer. The aroma, now sharper, flooded my senses, a mix of earthy herbs, a hint of citrus, and something deeper, metallic and faintly sweet. It was both alluring and unfamiliar, yet, somehow reassuring. The stranger's eyes, pools of moss aglow with understanding, met mine. A silent question hung in the air between us. I swallowed, the dry rasp echoing in the quiet night. A nod, hesitant and small, escaped my lips. A smile softened the stranger's weathered face as they brought the ladle closer. The steam wisped around their hand, carrying the intoxicating scent. I leaned forward, drawn by the promise of cool liquid against my burning throat. The stranger tilted the ladle, and the potion flowed, a shimmering ribbon cascading into a waiting wooden cup. The firelight danced on its surface, creating a swirling constellation of shifting colors. For a moment, I hesitated, fear momentarily eclipsing my thirst. But then, the stranger's gentle gaze met mine again, dispelling the last vestiges of doubt. I reached out, my hand trembling slightly, and grasped the warm cup. The wood, smooth against my calloused fingers, offered a grounding comfort. Bringing the cup to my lips, I inhaled deeply. The scent, now stronger, tickled my nose, sending a tingle up my spine. I closed my eyes, took a tentative sip, and the world tilted ever so slightly. The potion, surprisingly cool against my burning throat, burst onto my tongue in a symphony of unexpected flavors. The earthy bitterness of the herbs was tempered by the sweetness of the citrus, while the metallic tang lingered at the back, leaving a curious warmth in its wake. It was unlike anything I had ever tasted, foreign and familiar in equal measure. A sensation, both physical and mental, rippled through me, a tingling at the tips of my fingers, a clearing in the fog of my mind. For a fleeting moment, a hazy image flickered across the screen of my memory, a sun-drenched kitchen, the aroma of baking bread, a woman's laughter. Then, just as quickly, the image dissolved, leaving behind an ache of longing and a renewed sense of determination. I set the empty cup down with a soft thud, the sound echoing in the silence that followed. The stranger watched me, their eyes unblinking, yet somehow full of understanding. The fire crackled, casting long shadows that danced across the clearing. In that flickering light, I knew my journey had truly begun. For even in the slow unfolding of moments, in the quiet symphony of the night and the shared sip of an unknown potion, a fragment of my past had surfaced. And with it, a flicker of hope, a promise that in the depths of the Whisperwood, amidst the secrets whispered by the wind and the stories etched in the bark of ancient trees, I would find not just answers, but myself. To be continued. The breath of the potion lingered on my tongue, a curious prickling sensation that seemed to echo beneath my skin. My head felt lighter, the fog of amnesia thinning ever so slightly, letting in slivers of sunlight through the cracks. Yet, a strange exhaustion settled over me, pulling at my limbs like invisible threads. The stranger, ever watchful, noticed the subtle tremor in my hands as I set down the empty cup. Their gaze, sharp as honed flint despite the moss-green depths, held within it a flicker of something new, curiosity, perhaps, or maybe even concern. With a murmured word, they extended a hand, palm outstretched towards me. The air around them shimmered, a faint luminescence swirling in their fingertips. It was a subtle display, almost imperceptible in the firelight, yet it sent a jolt of awareness through me. "Let me see," the stranger said, their voice a low hum that resonated with the rustling leaves. The whispering wood reveals its secrets in many ways, and sometimes, a spark needs a gentle coaxing. Instinct, rather than understanding, guided me. I reached out, hesitantly at first, then with a newfound resolve, and placed my palm against theirs. The moment our skin touched, the world stilled. The crackling fire, the chirping crickets, all faded into the background, replaced by a soft buzzing that thrummed in my veins, emanating from the point of contact. It was unsettling, yet strangely familiar. Like the whisper of a forgotten melody, the echo of a buried magic. The buzzing intensified, then abruptly shifted, branching out from my hand like tiny, invisible roots. My breath hitched as a tingling sensation spread through my arm, crawling up my shoulder and towards my chest. The stranger's grip tightened, their eyes narrowed in concentration. I could feel their own magic, a steady current flowing through their palm, meeting mine like two streams converging. It was then, in that moment of connection, that the limits of my being became starkly apparent. My own magic, once robust and vibrant, felt like a flickering candle flame compared to the stranger's steady torch. It sputtered and coughed, struggling to match their flow, the buzzing turning into a desperate hum, like a thirsty engine gasping for fuel. Panic threatened to rise, but the stranger's unwavering gaze held me steady. They adjusted their grip, subtly altering the flow of their magic, a gentle nudge rather than a forceful push. The pressure on my own reserves eased, the buzzing finding a new rhythm, slower but more sustainable. Slowly, a sense of calm descended upon me. The exhaustion remained, but the edge of desperation had dulled. With each shared breath, with each pulse of their magic, a spark of my own rekindled, finding strength in the borrowed flames. When the buzzing finally ebbed away, leaving behind a faint tingling in my fingertips, the stranger released my hand. Their eyes met mine, once more filled with that quiet understanding. "You have much to learn, young traveler," they said, their voice a gentle sigh. "But the embers still glow within you. The Whisperwood will be your crucible, and in its heart, you will find not only your memories, but the true measure of your power." And as I sat there, bathed in the firelight, my hands still tingling with the echo of borrowed magic, I knew they were right. The journey ahead was shrouded in mist, the path uncertain. But within me, a spark had been rekindled, a promise whispering in the silence, the promise of rediscovery, of a power waiting to be claimed, and of becoming, once again, myself. To be continued. The fire crackled, its embers casting dancing shadows on the gnarled roots that encircled the clearing. The silence that followed the ebb of magic hung heavy, punctuated only by the chirping of crickets and the distant hooting of an owl. My hand, still tingling with the phantom echo of borrowed power, felt oddly lighter, as if a weight had been lifted, even if a new uncertainty took its place. The stranger, their gaze never straying from my face, broke the silence first. Their voice, like the rustling of leaves on a gentle breeze, carried a hint of amusement. My, they chuckled, a low rumble that vibrated in the earth beneath us. "It seems the Whisperwood has taken a keen interest in you, young traveler. Not many can withstand its touch, let alone feel the echo of their own magic so soon." I offered a hesitant smile, still processing the revelation of my own hidden depths. The stranger's words, though cryptic, resonated within me, stirring a deep hunger for understanding. "Who are you?" I managed to ask, my voice rough from disuse. "And what is this place?" The stranger's eyes, pools of moss reflecting the moonlight, seemed to soften. "I am Alara," they replied, their voice lilting with an ancient melody. "A whisperer of the winds, a keeper of forgotten lore, and, it seems, your guide in this tangled realm." Their hand outstretched, gesturing towards the vast expanse of trees that loomed beyond the firelight. "This, traveler, is Celestria," Alara said, her voice taking on a reverent tone. "A world woven from stardust and whispers, where magic hums in the veins of the earth and dances in the breath of the wind." They paused, allowing the weight of their words to settle upon me. "Once, magic flowed freely in Celestria," Alara continued, her voice tinged with the echo of lost ages. "Weaving dreams into reality, sculpting mountains with mere thought, it was a symphony of harmony between humankind and the very fabric of existence." But as I listened, a shadow crossed Alara's face, its darkness mirrored in the flickering flames. "Then came the sundering," she whispered, her voice dropping to a hushed tone. "A cataclysm born of hubris, a clash of wills that fractured the very essence of magic. Its scars, deep and raw, still mark the land, and the echoes of its fury linger in the whispers of the wind." My breath hitched, an instinctive fear coiling in my gut. Alara's words painted a picture of a world teetering on the brink, a legacy of broken harmony casting a long shadow over the present. "And where do I fit in this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Why am I here, in this Whisperwood, with no memory of who I am?" Alara's eyes met mine, her gaze holding a secret promise. "That, young traveler," she said, her voice soft yet firm, "is a question the Whisperwood itself will answer. But know this, your arrival here is no mere happenstance. The threads of fate have woven a tapestry, and you, traveler, are an integral part of the pattern." She rose to her feet, her tall figure silhouetted against the rising moon. "The sun dips beneath the horizon, and the night deepens," Alara said, her voice echoing in the stillness. "Tonight, we rest. But come dawn, the Whisperwood awaits, and with it, the first threads of your forgotten story." And as I lay down beside the dying embers, the cool night air brushing against my skin, I knew my journey had truly begun. In the heart of the Whisperwood, under the watchful gaze of Alara, the whispers of the past awaited, promising answers, revelations, and perhaps, even the rediscovery of who I truly was. For in the slow unfolding of moments, beneath the starry canopy of Celestria, where magic crackled in the air and secrets danced in the moonlight, the first chapter of Jin, the Traveler, the Seeker, had truly begun. To be continued. Sleep, when it finally came, was a fragile thing. The world around me flickered, snatches of firelight dancing on closed eyelids, the distant hooting of an owl, the rustling of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. Each sound, each whisper of wind, pricked at the edges of my slumber, pulling me back to the weight of my amnesia, the gnawing curiosity about who I truly was. Dawn crept in slowly, painting the edges of the clearing in soft hues of rose and gold. The chill of the night lingered, clinging to the dew-kissed grass and seeping into my bones. I stirred, muscles stiff and protesting, and pushed myself up, blinking against the sudden brightness. Alara was already awake, seated beside the now cold embers of the fire. Her face, etched with the wisdom of countless moons, was bathed in the morning light, casting long shadows that danced across her weathered skin. In her eyes, the color of mossy ponds, I saw a quiet understanding, a reflection of the turmoil swirling within me. "Good morning, traveler," she greeted me, her voice like the rustling of leaves on a gentle breeze. "The whisperwood awakens with the sun, and so do the possibilities that lie within its embrace." I nodded, unable to find my voice. The weight of unspoken questions sat heavy on my tongue, the remnants of my forgotten past a swirling mist obscuring my path. Alara, sensing my hesitation, offered a kind smile. "Your mind seeks answers, and the whisperwood holds many secrets," she said. "But knowledge, like sunlight filtering through leaves, reveals itself slowly, piece by piece." She rose to her feet, her movements fluid and graceful despite the weight of years etched upon her. "Come," she beckoned, gesturing towards the edge of the clearing. "Let us take the first steps on your path, and listen to the whispers the trees carry on the morning breeze." Following Alara, I stepped out of the clearing and into the heart of the whisperwood. The sunlight, dappled through the dense canopy of leaves, painted the forest floor in a mosaic of light and shadow. The air, thick with the scent of damp earth and pine needles, hummed with a hidden energy, a language waiting to be deciphered. Alara moved with the ease of one born of the forest, her bare feet whispering against the mossy ground. I, on the other hand, stumbled and caught myself on gnarled roots, my senses overwhelmed by the sights and sounds that bombarded me from every direction. Yet, even amidst the chaos, a sense of calm settled over me. The whisperwood, despite its vastness and mysteries, felt curiously inviting. As if the ancient trees themselves whispered assurances, welcoming me to their domain, promising revelations in their gentle rustle. Alara stopped at the base of a towering oak, its gnarled branches clawing at the sky. She placed a hand on its rough bark, her eyes closed in reverence. I followed suit, hesitantly at first, then with a newfound curiosity. The moment my palm touched the oak, a jolt of energy shot through me. It was nothing like the surge of Alara's magic, but a gentler feeling, a whisper of warmth and recognition. In that fleeting moment, a fragment of memory flickered across the screen of my mind, a sun-dappled clearing, the laughter of children, the scent of wood smoke. The image dissolved as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind a pang of longing and a renewed sense of determination. I looked at Alara, my eyes wide with wonder. It spoke to me, I whispered, my voice barely audible. Alara smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "The whisperwood speaks to those who listen with their hearts," she said. "This is but the first whisper, traveler. Many more await, each carrying a fragment of your story." And as I stood there, bathed in the dappled sunlight and enveloped by the gentle melody of the forest, I knew my journey had truly begun. In the slow unfolding of moments, in the hushed whispers of the whisperwood and the patient guidance of Alara, I would not only find answers, but perhaps even reclaim the memories that were mine, and become, once again, myself. To be continued. The oak, ancient and stoic, stood bathed in the soft morning light, its bark rough beneath my trembling fingers. The echo of its whisper, fleeting yet profound, lingered in the silence, leaving me breathless with newfound hope. Alara's smile, warm and knowing, mirrored the sunlight dappling the forest floor. "The first thread," she murmured, her voice a low hum that resonated with the rustle of leaves. "And how it tugs at the tapestry of your forgotten past." I nodded, unable to tear my gaze away from the ancient tree. The image it had conjured, though hazy and fleeting, felt strangely familiar, a forgotten melody hummed on a distant wind. A sun-dappled clearing, children's laughter echoing in the air, the scent of wood smoke mingling with the earthy dampness of the forest. It was a fragment, fragile and precious, yet enough to spark a yearning within me. Alara remained silent, her eyes reflecting the quiet wisdom of the whisperwood. The weight of her unspoken understanding was a comforting presence, a steady hand guiding me through the labyrinth of my own forgetfulness. Tentatively, I reached out with my mind, searching for that faint echo of the oak's whisper. The effort was akin to wading through a misty valley, my thoughts blurred and hesitant. But as I persisted, a glimmer of something familiar emerged, a warmth, a feeling of belonging, a sense of place. The vision shimmered into focus, morphing from fragmented images into a coherent scene. I stood beneath the shade of a towering oak, not unlike the one before me, its branches adorned with tiny houses woven from leaves and twigs. Children, their faces bright with laughter, scampered around my feet, their voices weaving a melody of pure joy. And in the distance, a woman, her back to me, stirred a crackling fire, the scent of wood smoke swirling like a comforting embrace. The scene, vibrant and alive, pulsed with a sense of belonging. It was a memory, no doubt, yet one shrouded in shadows. The faces of the children remained blurred, the woman's features obscured by the dancing flames. But the feeling, the raw emotion of joy and contentment, washed over me with the suddenness of a summer rain. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the edges of the vision. A sob escaped my lips, choked with the weight of rediscovered memories, of connections long severed, of a life lost and now glimpsed through the mists of time. Alara placed a gentle hand on my shoulder, her touch grounding me in the present. "Take your time, traveler," she murmured, her voice a soothing balm. "The whisperwood reveals its secrets in its own way, and understanding blooms like a flower, unfolding petal by petal." I nodded, wiping away the tears that traced hot paths down my cheeks. The vision had faded, leaving behind a bittersweet ache of longing and a flicker of hope that blazed brighter than the morning sun. In that quiet moment, beneath the ancient oak, surrounded by the gentle whispers of the forest, I, Jin, the traveler, the seeker, had taken a single, momentous step on the path to rediscovering myself. And with each slow, deliberate breath, with each fragment of memory unearthed, I knew that the journey, though shrouded in mist and whispers, would eventually lead me home. For within the heart of the whisperwood, in the patient guidance of Alara and the gentle whispers of the ancient trees, the tapestry of my forgotten past was slowly being woven anew, thread by precious thread, leading me ever closer to the moment when I would stand before the mirror of my own memories and finally see myself, whole and complete, once more. The memory, once vibrant and alive, receded like the tide, leaving behind a bittersweet ache and a haunting question gnawing at the edges of my mind. The children's faces, obscured moments ago, remained veiled in mist, their joyful laughter echoing faintly in the vast halls of my forgetfulness. Alara, ever watchful, noticed the subtle shift in my demeanor. Her touch, light as a falling leaf, rested on my arm, a silent anchor in the churning sea of my thoughts. "Memories," she said, her voice like the sighing of the wind through ancient pines, "are fickle creatures, traveler. They dance just beyond our grasp, teasing us with glimpses of the past. But patience, like the dew that nourishes the dawn, allows them to bloom in their own time." I nodded, her words weaving a tapestry of comfort around my roiling emotions. Yet, the gnawing question refused to be silenced. Why were the faces blurred, the details elusive? Why did a sliver of fear, cold and unwelcome, mingle with the ache of longing? As if sensing my turmoil, Alara led me deeper into the whisperwood, the sunlight filtering through the dense canopy painting the forest floor in a mosaic of light and shadow. The air, thick with the scent of damp earth and pine needles, vibrated with a hushed energy, a language waiting to be deciphered. We reached a clearing, bathed in an ethereal glow emanating from a crystalline pool nestled amongst moss-covered stones. Alara gestured towards the pool, its surface reflecting the dappled sunlight like 1,000 shattered eyes. "Look within, traveler," she said, her voice a soft whisper. "The whisperwood may not reveal your entire past, but it can offer glimpses, reflections of the tapestry you once wove." Hesitantly, I approached the pool. My reflection stared back, a stranger's face etched with the weariness of ages, yet holding a flicker of the boy I might have been. But as I gazed deeper, a ripple disturbed the surface, and through the distorted reflection, I saw a flash, a blinding light, a deafening roar, the searing touch of fire. And then, darkness. The memory hit me like a tidal wave, drowning out the sunlight, silencing the whispers of the trees. It wasn't just a fragment, but a vivid tableau, a battlefield bathed in crimson, the clash of steel, the screams of the dying. And amidst the chaos, me, falling, consumed by an inferno, the finality of death, a cold fist closing around my heart. I stumbled back, the revelation crashing upon me like a felled tree. I wasn't just lost, I was gone. The life I glimpsed, the children, the woman by the fire, they belonged to another world, a world I had left behind in the embrace of oblivion. Panic threatened to consume me, the weight of death a crushing burden. But Alara's hand, firm and gentle, steadied me. "There is more to your story, traveler," she said, her voice a lighthouse in the storm. "Death, in this realm, is not always the end. The Whisperwood remembers all, and within its embrace, even the echoes of lost souls can find solace, transformation." Her words, though cryptic, offered a lifeline. If I wasn't simply a ghost of a life lived, then what was I? And what did the future hold for a being who danced on the precipice of existence, both living and dead? The question swirled within me, a maelstrom of uncertainty. But for the first time, a flicker of determination, born from the ashes of despair, lit up within me. My journey through the Whisperwood, it seemed, had taken an unexpected turn, one that defied the boundaries of life and death itself. And as I stood beside the crystalline pool, the echoes of my forgotten past mingling with the whispers of the ancient trees, I knew that the path ahead, though shrouded in mist and uncertainty, held the promise of not just rediscovering my memories, but perhaps, even understanding what it meant to exist beyond the veil of death. For in the heart of the Whisperwood, the impossible seemed to dance on the edge of reason, and I, Jin, the traveler, the seeker, the echo of a lost soul, was ready to embrace the mystery, step by trembling step, into the unknown. The revelation that you weren't simply lost, but potentially dead, hung heavy in the air, thicker than the morning mist clinging to the Whisperwood's canopy. Alara's words, though offering a lifeline, painted a future shrouded in uncertainty. The question now lay before you, stark and immediate. What would your next step be? Would you, 1. Seek further clarification from Alara, urging her to elaborate on the concept of existence beyond death in the Whisperwood? Her wisdom, woven from centuries spent within its embrace, might hold the key to understanding your own unique state of being. 2. Return to the crystalline pool, drawn by the unsettling glimpse of your demise. Perhaps gazing deeper into its reflective surface would reveal more details about the event that claimed your life, offering clues to the path ahead. 3. Vent your newfound fear and confusion to Alara, seeking solace in her gentle guidance and unwavering support. Sharing the emotional turmoil churning within you might provide a sense of catharsis and clarity, allowing you to face the unknown with renewed resolve. 4. Strike out deeper into the Whisperwood, driven by a newfound curiosity about the echoes of lost souls Alara mentioned. The forest itself might hold answers, whispering secrets through its rustle of leaves and the murmur of hidden streams. The choice, fraught with consequence, lay in your hands. Each path held the potential for revelation, but also the risk of delving deeper into the unknown. What would you choose, Jin, the traveler, the seeker, the echo of a lost soul? Choose your next step, and the Whisperwood shall respond, unfolding its secrets one by one, as slow and deliberate as the unfolding of a moonlit flower.